Let's quickly review each of the parts that make up Excel, starting off with the ribbon. All Microsoft products use the ribbon, a tabbed interface, albeit the tabs vary depending on the product. The tasks that are utilized the most frequently will be on the Home tab. Depending on your demands, you can modify your search. It's much simpler to come up here to the search box and type the task you're trying to do if you can't find what you're looking for in any of these tabs. For instance, merge and center cells. If you type in merge and center, these are some of the options and the suggested actions that I get. The ribbons, icons, and the actions are also included here. You will also notice that there are quite a few arrows all over the ribbon. These become more apparent as you move through the ribbon. When you click on every arrow, you can see the various options that you get. Here are various additional arrows and actions I can do. Some of these we will be discussing later. The only tab in this tabbed interface that is not used is the File tab. And when I click on it, I'm brought to a page where I can make a brand new blank workbook or file. I can either save the one I'm working on, open an existing one. By selecting the left pointing arrow at the top of the screen, you can go back to Excel. Let's navigate to the screen's bottom by scrolling down. Although this file might include more than one worksheet, I can only see the one that is currently chosen. We will also discuss that later. I can zoom out or I can zoom in, making the font smaller or larger. Let's move to the screen's center. I can navigate through these rows by scrolling all the way down. The rows are all numerical, while the columns at the very top are all alphabetical. Any of these cells can be clicked. We'll go through data types and talk about why text alignment can alternate between left and right. The entire text can be formatted, and we'll go over how to do that. Additionally, by clicking on the column header for a column or a number for a row, you can highlight the entirety of either a column or a row. In order to make something broad or narrow, you can easily adjust the width for both columns and rows. For example, if you want to make column B a little broad, you just move the mouse over and it makes it broader. The same process can be done for rows. If you want to undo something that you have mistakenly done, you can click on the back arrow on the top left corner of the screen. You will regularly use Excel's undo tool. The last action you took will be reversed if you click on it. You can click on it repeatedly or reverse your actions endlessly. The number of activities you can undo is up to 100. In truth, you can undo something if you unintentionally undo something by clicking the redo button, which is the arrow underneath this button. So there you have it, the basics of Excel navigation. You may typically use your daily tasks by adhering to the Home ribbon tab. Everything from formatting to alignment to numbers to cells will be covered in this tab. Let's now discuss how to create, open, and save a file. Even though this new blank file is open, I can create a new one at any time. I can always choose File, then New Blank Workbook in the top left corner of the screen. By tapping More Templates, I may view a list of templates if I don't want to create a brand new blank one. I can view all of Microsoft's templates if I scroll down. Examples include fitness vision, personal budget, volunteer assignments, retirement planner. There is a lot of variety when it comes to Excel templates. By selecting the button labeled Search for Online Templates, I can hunt for a template if I can't find one. I can always make a blank file by clicking the enormous new blank workbook icon if I still can't find what I'm looking for. I can now start entering text into the cell because it will open a new empty file. By pressing the Enter key or Tab keys, I can switch to a different row or column. I'll return to File and choose Save As when I'm ready to save the file. Clicking Browse will open the PC's Browse dialog, where I may store it to a location like Documents if I wish to save it locally on my computer. At any point, I may open a file by going back to the File menu, Open. By selecting a push pin icon, I can move an item that I use regularly to the top of this list. As a result, I can now find any file I need by going to the Pinned tab and double-clicking on it. I've started a new blank file, and I'd like to discuss the structure of an Excel file before entering some text. The first thing I'll do is zoom in so that you see what I'm doing a little better. And I'll do that by clicking the plus sign all the way down to the bottom right of the screen. You've probably heard me refer to this as an Excel file, and you probably will, but it's important to note that the technical term for what this is an Excel workbook. It's a workbook comprised of sheets or worksheets. This is sheet 2, as you can see over here. I can enter my data and add multiple sheets here. When I click a new sheet, we have a completely separate worksheet within this workbook, which is the Excel file. I can refer to these sheets in a variety of ways. I can use formulas on one that refer to the cell on another sheet. I can use all of them interchangeably, and we'll go over the details a little later. Although you can call this file or a workbook, the official term is an Excel workbook. So now that we've opened our file, let's begin populating it with some basic text and filling out some columns and rows. I'm going to enter some product data for a fictional company called XYZ360. To begin, I could place my cursor in any cell by directly clicking on it. And if I look, I'm currently in column A, row 1. A1 is the cell number, as you can see over here. If I ever get lost and don't know where I am, I can see that this is cell A1 all the way on the top left-hand side of the screen in the name box. For the time being, I'll place my cursor in cell A5 and begin typing. I'll press enter to move the cursor to the next row, and then I can resume typing. GPS trackers. Let me just press enter. I add cameras. I add SIM cards. Okay, so here we have some products. Now the data in column A is taking up some space in column B. Column B does not contain the data. It's simply too long and I can't see what's in column B. We'll go over how to resize these in more detail later, but for now, I'm going to hover my mouse between columns A and B and slide the mouse over. I'll move my cursor to cell B5 and begin typing. Instead of pressing the Enter key, which would take me to the next row, I'm going to press the Tab key, which will take me to the next column. And now I have some information over here. This was a quick refresher module as we discussed the Excel ribbon, creating, opening, and saving Excel files. We also entered some text in an Excel workbook. Hope you found it helpful.